a movie that does for the biopic genre what Weird Al's music did for just music is what you got here with this movie we're talking about today, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story.
Not the first biopic parody per se.
Yeah, well...
Walk Hard.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot while I was watching this.
Although Walk Hard is based on a fictional character, it's the same premise.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people thinking I'm some kind of joke.
Your dad and I agreed it would be best if you just stop being who you are and doing the things you love.
So this was directed by Eric Appel. He also co-wrote it with Weird Al himself, and it stars Daniel Radcliffe and
stars so many people,
literally all of Hollywood. Yeah, stars Daniel Radcliffe and Rainn Wilson, I would say, and I guess predominantly
Evan Rachel Wood.
Yeah,
Toby Huss, Julian Nicholson.
I think the premise of this movie is incredible. I think it's actually pretty brilliant, personally. The fact that because Weird Al, as everybody knows, his career is making parodies of other people's music. This movie is a parody of the musical biopic genre about a guy who makes parodies. So it's just like this layered meta.
It's a double entendre, if not a triple entendre.
Right. So thinking about Walk Hard, Walk Hard was, that's just a parody. But Walk Hard, I don't think was a parody of the genre itself. It was a parody of just the Johnny Cash movie.
You're gonna have to give him a moment, son. Dewey Cox needs to think about his entire life before he plays.
This is a parody of the entire genre of biopic films, specifically musician biopics. There's a couple, I don't know if it's a line of dialogue. I think it was his narration over the movie when he says it was in a movie, it must be true.
Shout out Diedrich Bader, he's hilarious.
Oh, here, grizzled narrator. I didn't realize that was him. Yeah, no, he's funny.
I actually thought it was Al because I know Al.
I thought it was him too.
He did Dark Side in Teen Titans Go, so I was like, is this is this irony Al doing a Dark Side voice or his own character? Which it wasn't. It was obviously Diedrich Bader, but
so the narrating was pretty funny. But there was a moment or two where they specifically say oh, if it's in a movie, it must be true. And that's very specifically poking fun at these biopic movies that we've talked about recently. We haven't reviewed them. But there was the Freddie Mercury movie that had come out recently. There was the Elton John one that came out in the last couple of years. Then Elvis just recently came out. Now I heard Elvis was pretty good. I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet either.
And I've heard all these movies are generally pretty well received, but the whole the running theme of all these movies is that they're wildly dramatized.
Yes.
And so much so that there's parts of these stories that aren't even remotely true. And
right, or the time doesn't make sense and they make it make sense for the movie. Lots of sad stuff happens out of order. They change lots of stuff.
I guess it's weird because I had watched the fucking Johnny Cash movie back in the day when it came out. I remember you think to yourself oh, well, I guess this is what fucking happened because it's a movie. But right. Yeah, I don't know. You just never really think about it that it's oh yeah, no, half of the shit is probably just written by some fucking, writer. And that's what this movie does so brilliantly is that it's none of the shit in this movie is even remotely true. But it's
there's truth sprinkled in. But,
but
there's no way to tell.
There's literally no way to tell.
That's one thing that I admire about the intelligence behind this movie because this created so many Googlers. People actually thought that Weird Al and Madonna were in a relationship. People actually thought that Eat It came out before Beat It.
Right.
People are actually Googling this shit.
My little hungry one, open up a package of my banana.
Dude, I've got chills.
I would venture to guess for the majority of people have no idea about Weird Al's backstory. I don't know about Weird Al's backstory.
Right.
I just know that I've had a couple of his tapes growing up.
This is a big Weird Al fan.
Never even really thought about his backstory until we watched it, and I still don't know about it. And I'll continue
Weird
it that
Al
way.
bump is a real thing. Like,
that I do know
actually,
is real. Yeah.
actually happened. Yeah.
Yes, that I did know was true. The one thing, I mean, the few things that I do know about the guy is that he actually is like a really fucking good musician.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, like, if you think it's easy to fucking parody people's music and like make it good, it's not. He's actually a brilliant musician. Like what you're saying, like you almost never know what's truth and what's not.
Al Yankovic. It's long. It's hard to pronounce. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Weird Al Yankovic. I love it.
And even by the end of the movie, when you think that like they're gonna be like, oh, okay, now let's honor like the actual guy, because the closing credits, it's like a sequence of like pictures.
Yeah.
And they start out with like pictures of him as a baby with his real parents and stuff. And you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of sweet. Like this is his actual life. And then all of a sudden they start to get like progressively more ridiculous and like clearly photoshopped. And it's like him doing the things that they showcased in the movie. So they just double down on like the ridiculousness. Is like, oh, here he is actually killing Manuel Noriega or whoever the fucking drug dealer guy was in this movie. And that's why I say it's really different from the Walk Hard movie, because like that was a parody of a specific movie. This was a parody of like all of them, and a parody of a man's life too, of like, let's just sit down and come up with like the most ridiculous things possible for my career.
Yeah. Weird Al himself like transcends like movies, where, you know, his first, I think, major appearance was Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Right.
Where he played like a different character, and he's had shows where he plays a different character, but like playing himself, he's been in The Simpsons. He's been in Batman. He's been in Family Guy. He's been in Robot Chicken, Scooby Doo. Like,
yeah,
all this media, like, and this is Weird Al playing Weird Al. This is like how well he's known, and how
I mean,
big
he's a cultural icon, like literally is, and he's not really somebody that you would think of in that light, but he is. Like he's been doing it for as long as I could remember, and he's been quite successful at it. He's like a smart and talented guy. Daniel Radcliffe did a fucking awesome job in this movie. I don't know if I would say he's a good actor, but a lot of the roles he's chosen since Harry Potter, I saw him talking about this. I watch this GQ YouTube channel, and they talk like every so often they have actors come on and they like break down their most iconic roles. And I just watched his like a couple of days ago. He talked about basically in so many words that like every role he's chosen has been in pursuit of trying to shed the Harry Potter character.
Yeah, you don't want to be typecast. This is why Mark Hamill went to voice acting only. Almost.
Right. And it's not that he doesn't appreciate Harry Potter. He holds a tremendous amount of love and appreciation for the character. But like you said, like you want to start to pursue different things. And, you know, if you look at some of the, like he does a lot of like comedy roles. In this movie, he was the fucking like cartoonish villain in the treasure hunting movie we had talked about a while back.
Right.
He was in Swiss Army Man, which is like the most bizarre role. He played a fucking corpse. He's just been doing like a lot of these comedy roles, and I think he's a pretty good comedy actor. I think he's got good comedic timing.
Absolutely is.
Yeah,
this movie is brilliant and hilarious.
Yeah, he's got good comedic timing, and so much so that like during the movie, like he's playing Weird Al, right, but it's not really Weird Al, and you know it's not. So he basically is his own character in a sense that you actually like and are rooting for throughout the course of the movie because he's so good in the role. I think like it's very early on you realize like, okay, this has nothing to do with Weird Al at all, you know, except in the name itself and like music and whatever. So like I think he played the role so good that like you actually care about him very specifically.
I think his acting, but also the writing, like the timing and stuff.
Yeah, no, the writing was great. There were a lot of funny moments in this movie. I mean, a couple that stand out to me when he first wrote the My Bologna, and like his roommates were like very funny when he wrote that, and they were like, "That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. The world needs to hear that." You know, I think his dad was really funny, like just the generic like hard ass who works at the factory.
Toby Huss, What is the recurring thing? What does the factory even make? They won't fucking tell you.
Well, because it's like it's just like generic bullshit from like, tropes from other movies. It's like, works at the factory. He wears like the glove on his hand to keep his hands smooth, like the fucking character in Of Mice and Men.
I would have grabbed that boy that was dying, but I already lost my one hand, I guess.
And he called the fucking accordion the Devil's Squeeze Box.
Yeah, Devil's Squeeze.
That was very funny. The Michael Jackson thing was really fucking funny. That they made it like he wrote Eat It first,
Eat It,
and then Michael Jackson copied him. That was very funny. Turning Madonna into like a fucking villain was pretty fucking funny. There are so many actors.
She needed that bump. She needed a fix.
She needed that Weird Al bump.
Cleanse drugs. I think Madonna's a bad influence on you. What? No offense.
So many fucking cameos in this movie. Like, the list is incredibly long on IMDb. I'm not going to name them all, but just ones that I've noticed. Jack Black was fucking hilarious in whatever his role was as Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, Wolfman Jack. Yeah, he's an old, so you remember Casey Kasem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Wolfman Jack, like, predates, basically, familiar voice.
Mm-hmm. You had fucking Conan O'Brien as Andy Warhol, which was very funny.
Was fucking amazing.
Patton Oswalt randomly being a heckler in the crowd.
Yeah.
At the show, and I thought Will Forte as like the fucking record executive,
the brother, he was Tony Scotty's brother or whatever.
Yeah, he was fucking hilarious.
I'm a train wreck. My parents wrote me off. I pushed away my band.
You're all just a bunch of normals. I'm the weird one.
What scene was your favorite? I've got two in my mind. One of them isn't even really a scene. It's just fucking hilarious. But I do have a favorite scene in this movie. You have?
I don't have a scene specifically, but I think my favorite part of the movie was the closing credits, honestly.
Did you listen to the song all the way through?
Not all the way through.
You watched the, oh man.
It was a new song though.
Yeah, it was a parody song about credits.
Yeah.
And like the credits end, and then he's like, oh, double freak out. It's not the end yet. And then like he starts like pointing at people and this guy right here, I remember that guy. He's pretty cool. These songs, these are in the movie. Like, it's fucking hilarious.
I'll have to go back and watch the closing credits, but in just the beginning of the closing credits, like I said earlier, like
how
it starts out, you get like 3 or 4 like real pictures of Al as a kid, and then like coming up with like his band and all this stuff, and then very subtly they start to become photoshopped, and you're like, wait a second, like, is that like I noticed right away?
It's like the picture of like with Madonna. And then the picture kissing Madonna.
Yeah. Well, but the first few are done like very, very subtly. And I happen to just notice because like, it's I do it for a living, but like I feel like a lot of people watching it wouldn't have really picked up on it until it starts to become like actually ridiculous. And they don't even try to like hide the Photoshop part, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I just thought that was really funny. What was yours?
There was a lot of 80s, 90s humor in this, which a lot of people won't get. I think my favorite scene was another one rides the bus scene where like they're all at Dr. Demento's house and Jack Black, like, because just there's so many people there who like people who are watching the movie who don't really know who Weird Al is are not going to know who any of these people here. Like Alice Cooper is there, Gallagher's there, Andy Warhol's there, Salvador Dali is there, fucking Divine is there, Wolfman Jack, Pee Wee Herman. Like these are all like legends of their time, and most people don't know. But also like when he's fighting Pablo Escobar, and
oh my
like
God,
he
that
walks
shit was
in,
so funny.
And he makes a reference. He's like, oh, yeah, I got all your albums on the Columbia House Record Club. 12 albums for a penny. It's a great deal. I almost lost it. Like, that's real shit. Like, you used to be able to, like, it was like this scam shit. You basically fucking send them a penny and they send you 12 albums. And then, like, you're hooked. Like, you have to mail them. Like, because this is back before email. You have to mail them and say, please don't send me any more albums. Or they just keep sending you and charging you, and then they send you collections like it was a scam.
Those the ones that you would buy from like, like 3 a.m.
off the back of a magazine. Well, yeah, it was just all like, 12 albums for a penny. Like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great deal. And then like every album after that, every month was like $35 an album.
I think this works as like just a comedy,
Absolutely,
parody
100%.
movie.
Yeah. But the brilliance and the subtle, like as somebody who grew up in the 80s, like
for sure,
there's some shit in here that was just on the nose good.
But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I laughed most of the way through. When I wasn't laughing, I was smiling at it because I really thought Daniel Radcliffe like did a fucking phenomenal job. Again,
killed it.
Again, not playing Weird Al. It's hard. I don't know. Like I want to make sense of what I mean by that because like, yes, of course, like in looks, he's Weird Al, but it's such a fucking not real story that he's really not playing Weird Al. He basically just developed his own character that is called Weird Al, and that character you actually end up like pretty much falling in love with and rooting for throughout the movie. So that was 100% because of Radcliffe's performance. I think this has a 7.3 on IMDb, pretty high for a comedy. I'm gonna give this a solid 7. I think. What about you?
I'm gonna give it the Weird Al bump and give it a 7.5.
Woo! You're giving it the bump, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Again, as somebody who appreciates the time that this came from, and the parody and the irony and everything, like this movie is brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah, and it seems a lot of people are really enjoying it as well. Like I'm looking through IMDb, and it's just high praise.
There isn't much Weird Al can do that is not well received.
Yeah, I mean,
he's an icon, a legend in the industry. What's not to love about the man?
Yeah, I mean, again, but beyond the man, I just think that there's a lot to appreciate about this movie in terms of writing, acting, all that good stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of that is his ideas too.
It's his ideas, yeah, for sure. No, for sure. But I just think the Daniel Radcliffe performance really took me by surprise because I expected him to come in and just be like, oh yeah, I'm pretending to be Weird Al, but that's not what it was at all. Like it was his own character, which I found really impressive. Like I was actually blown away by his performance, if I'm being honest. Like I thought
he did
like I know he won't, but I think he could be like Oscar nominated for this.
Yeah, Evan Rachel Wood, and that was another meme in the credits. Like when he was talking about the song, he's like, "This song is now up for an award."
Yeah, I would definitely highly recommend watching it. It's up there for me for the year, maybe one of the best comedies of the year.
Yeah, I've watched it twice already, and I'm looking forward to watching it again when I watch it with my roommate because he hasn't seen it yet.
I think it's slightly behind the Nicolas Cage movie. In terms of like my favorite comedy because that's one of my favorite movies of the year altogether. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the movie. And you can click on that movie review playlist right over there to check out more movies that we've talked about. But we'll catch you in the next one.
Pasta.